You wake up still half dreaming of greatness, goals you swore were non-negotiable, but before the kettle boils, you've already started negotiating against yourself. You rewrite messages to sound smaller. You laugh too fast at jokes that cut just a little too close. You plan your day around people who wouldn't skip a breath to plan around you. And by evening, scrolling through a feed full of curated triumphs, you tell yourself that maybe tomorrow you'll get your turn. But tomorrow's been stuck in customs for years. It's not lost. It was never addressed to you in the first place. Niccolò Machiavelli didn't write for influencers. He wrote for princes balancing crowns on shaky thrones. Yet his playbook, dripping with unfiltered realism about how humans respond to power, still applies. Not just to emperors, but to interns, to middle managers, to freelancers, to you. Respect isn't handed out like diploma scrolls. It's an atmosphere, and you either generate it or choke in its absence. If the room falls silent when you speak, if people skim your messages but respond to others with full paragraphs, if you feel like presence alone isn't enough, you might be leaking power through 7 invisible cracks. Let's seal them, one by one. The first leak is confession disguised as connection. This culture has convinced you that rawness is currency, that vulnerability buys trust. So you overexpose, venting heartbreak to acquaintances, sharing half-baked fears online, laying bare your insecurities mid-latte with coworkers who mentally take notes for future advantage. But Machiavelli would remind you, every confession is a loaded weapon to the wrong ears. Mystery isn't deception, it's armor. The more they don't know about your pressure points, the more they tread lightly. If you're always broadcasting your emotional coordinates, don't be surprised when people show up uninvited. Keep your pain bandaged, encrypt your strategy, let silence do your reputation's heavy lifting. The second crack is the apology reflex. You say sorry when someone bumps you. You say sorry for asking a question in a meeting. You even say sorry when it rains, as if the clouds report to you. Every redundant apology teaches others that the weight of blame belongs to you, even when it doesn't. And in the ledger of status, blame is liability. Liability lowers value. Machiavelli taught rulers to kneel only when standing would cost them more. You need to do the same. Apologize once, with clarity, then move. In every other case, try silence. Or better, replace sorry with thank you. As in, thank you for your patience. That sentence upgrades your dignity and trains others to treat it like gold. Leak number 3, validation addiction. You scan faces for micro-approvals. You check likes before finishing your coffee. You start sentences bold, then dilute them if someone raises an eyebrow. You become easy to decode, and worse, easy to program. If a crowd's response can change your direction, you're not leading, you're performing. Machiavelli would call that dancing on spring ice. Charisma is great, but if you need applause to stand tall, you'll fall the second the cheers fade. So unplug. Post after the adrenaline wears off. Share when you no longer need a response. Make your own voice the loudest in the room, even if it's the only one speaking. The fourth leak, emotional reactivity. A coworker hijacks your idea and your temperature spikes. You raise your voice. Your body betrays you. You've been caught on tape, emotionally, if not literally. Predictability invites choreography. If people know exactly which buttons to push, even amateurs will play you like a piano. Machiavellian grace isn't apathy, it's delay. Refrigerate your reaction, observe, breathe like a chess master choosing their next move. Then deliver, days later in the form of irrefutable data or performance so sharp it silences the room. Never interrupt a thief mid-theft. Outperform them afterward. Leak 5. Boundary erosion. Your calendar looks like a public bus route. Anyone can hop on. You reply to 11 p.m. messages like, "It's your job." You cover for teammates without being asked. You bleed time, money, and energy into everyone's bucket but your own. The world does not give you value. It takes value unless you charge for it. Every no reinforces your yes. Every boundary redrawn teaches others that your generosity is real, but it's earned. Declining tasks without guilt, saying that won't work for me, and scheduling your priorities like they matter builds a perimeter others can see. And when others can see your lines, they learn to respect what's inside them. Leak 6. Sloppy promises. You tell your boss you'll deliver in 3 days, but you know it's a 5-day job. You want to seem optimistic, so you lie gently and fail predictably. You set goals in red ink on glossy vision boards but can't deliver a to-do list. Overpromising is the slowest path to irrelevance. Machiavelli advised the opposite: underpromise, overdeliver. Set low expectations, beat them. Be the one who drops results like plot twists, early, complete, with a flourish nobody expected. People remember when you exceed the frame. They forget what you said you'd do if it never happened. The final leak is physical. Posture, voice, gesture. Your body can whisper self-erasure before your mouth says a word. Slouched shoulders, nervous laughter, eye contact that evaporates. These aren't quirks. They're broadcast signals, and the world responds to those signals like a heat-seeking missile. In Machiavelli's time, rulers held ceremonies to project power. You have to do the same, just quieter. Stand tall, shoulders square, voice steady. Let your presence announce that you're not available for dismissal. Now picture this. 3 people: a 19-year-old student terrified to speak in seminars, a 29-year-old middle manager drowning in other people's agendas, a 42-year-old parent spinning 12 plates and still hoping one will serve them back. Each thinks respect will arrive when they check the next box. Degree, promotion, mortgage, title. They're wrong. Respect ignores resumes. It sniffs out behavior. The student who speaks twice a semester, but with weight, becomes the one others quote. The manager who protects 2 hours of deep work like sacred ground gets twice as much done as the one bouncing between Slack pings. The parent who sets a boundary instead of saying yes out of guilt teaches their kids what sovereignty looks like. You don't need more time. You need fewer leaks. Now let's get practical. Tomorrow your phone stays on airplane mode for the first hour. You journal 3 priorities, not 10, not 20. 3. Each tied to a larger mission, not a random ping. You write emails, but schedule them to send at 9:03 a.m., not 6:41. You answer messages when it suits your calendar, not your anxiety. When someone cracks a cheap joke at your expense in a meeting, you hold eye contact, say nothing, and land your next update so clean it makes the room recalibrate. At lunch, you read strategy, not gossip. In the afternoon, you finish your report with 10% more value than expected and deliver it early. By evening, you respond to a crisis text with calm and a scheduled call. Not midnight therapy, not emotional bleed. And as you lie in bed, you scan your boundary scorecard and realize, no leaks today. No bargains traded for a drop of false peace. Repeat that 40 times and people will start adjusting to you. Meet Leo, age 26. Brilliant software engineer, polite to a fault. He ends every update with a nervous chuckle. His code is elegant, but his boundaries, non-existent. Product managers pile extra features onto his sprint like overstuffed grocery bags on a weak shelf. Why? Because Leo's calendar is always open, his tone always yielding, and his posture always apologetic. People liked Leo the way you like a vending machine. Convenient, predictable, forgettable. Then something changed, An older colleague slid a copy of The Prince across the table and said, "Read this until it scares you." Leo did. And what scared him wasn't the brutality, it was the precision. Every Machiavellian insight described his daily life, except Leo wasn't the ruler. He was the ruled. So he made small adjustments. He deleted 3 unnecessary apologies from a single email. No lightning bolt struck. He declined an extra task, respectfully, and proposed a reasonable timeline. The sky stayed blue. He blocked 90 minutes on his calendar each morning as deep build time, public, non-negotiable. At first, requests still came, but after a few rejections, the space held. By the end of the quarter, his throughput had doubled. His reputation followed. Suddenly, Leo's opinion was sought first. Colleagues whispered that something had changed, but the only thing that changed was the frame. His competence had always been there. Now the world could finally see it. Respect is like light. It requires angles to become visible. And silence? Silence is not absence. It's a strategic force. Hold your words for 2 seconds longer than others in a meeting and watch what happens. People lean in. They anticipate. The brain hates uncertainty, so it inflates your perceived value to close the gap. A pause becomes a signal. A void becomes gravity. Speak only when your words redirect momentum. Let your silence do the work until then. Let's talk underpromising. It's not about humility. It's about drama, about engineering surprise. Tell your manager the project will take 10 days, finish in 7, not because you want praise, but because the surprise is earned. Quiet, elegant, undeniable. Over time, this pattern builds a ledger of credibility that pays out interest. Now translate that same discipline to your personal life. You tell your partner you'll be home by 8. You show up at 7:30 with their favorite tea. You tell your kids you'll take them hiking Saturday. You appear at sunrise with trail maps and a story about the plants they'll see. These tiny surpluses etch a truth into their subconscious. When you say something, it happens. That is the DNA of respect. Contrast this with the chronic overpromiser. Big talk, missed deadlines, always planning Everest, delivering anthills. Eventually, even genuine excellence gets ignored because the credibility account is empty. Now let's go deeper, literally into the body. Your amygdala, the primal threat center in your brain, reads body language before your conscious mind catches up. Raised shoulders, fear, tilted head, submission, quick laughter, weakness. But straighten your spine, drop your breath low, and speak without rushing, and your very presence becomes a message. No need for bravado, just stillness, just deliberate weight. Practice in line at the grocery store, while pumping gas, on quiet walks. Let your baseline posture say, "I am not here to be overlooked," because how you carry yourself teaches the world how to carry you. Modern culture tells you to buy respect, a better car, a designer watch, that Instagram-worthy vacation. But envy is not respect, it's unstable. It cracks under pressure, and when money runs dry, so does status. True respect outlives your balance sheet. It's built on consistent behavior, quiet self-mastery, and the ruthless follow-through on what you say you'll do. A billionaire who mistreats a waitress earns fear, never respect. A nurse who fiercely advocates for a patient, revered. Because respect doesn't come from what you have, it comes from how you move. That's what Machiavelli really meant. Not that cruelty wins, but that strategy does. That predictability creates influence. That human beings, though complex, are shockingly programmable. You don't need to manipulate others. You need to be impossible to manipulate. So journal your goals in ink, not pixels. Make every commitment visible. Next to each task, draw a circle. Fill it in when complete. Watch your brain start to crave closure. That's the start of internal trust. Over time, that trust becomes tone, posture, presence. Others pick up on it without even knowing why. Because when you believe yourself, others follow suit. And then come the trials. First, confrontation. Someone calls you out publicly, a passive-aggressive dig in a meeting, a relative weaponizing your past. Most people either shrink or explode. You stay still. You say, interesting. What makes you see it that way? You respond with curiosity, not defense, and the attack dies of oxygen loss. Next comes rejection, the job you wanted, the connection you hoped for, silence, ghosting, pain. You don't chase, you pivot, you redirect. You act like someone with momentum that cannot be stalled. That's what signals strength. That's what brings new doors. Then comes crisis. The call no one wants, a layoff, a diagnosis, an ending. You don't fake calm. You audit your control. You divide the problem into two columns. What's yours, what's not. You act on the left. You surrender the right. And the world watches you move through chaos without begging it to make sense. Now the respect you built has weight. Now invitations start to sound different. We'd love your thoughts. Could you advise on this? Quick question for your expertise. Your silence begins to echo. Your boundaries generate gravity. You're no longer waiting for respect, you're orbiting it. And then one day, you'll see someone like you before the shift. Nervous laughter, slouched spine, voice quivering with invisible apologies. You'll see yourself in them. And maybe, just maybe, you'll pass the same spark that woke you up. Tell them, read Machiavelli, not for cruelty, for clarity. Tell them, people aren't good or evil. They're just predictable. They chase comfort, approval, certainty. So if you learn how to provide those, or remove them, they will orbit you. Tell them, love without respect turns into pity, and pity scaled up becomes oppression. Your job is to weave respect into your daily habits so tightly that even people who dislike you hesitate to dismiss you. Ask yourself, when the room clears and the lights dim, do you respect your own reflection? If yes, external respect will always follow. If no, no amount of applause will ever feel real. Run the checklist every night. Did I overshare? Did I apologize by habit? Did I chase validation? Did I bleed emotion into performance? Did I protect my time? Did I promise inside my true capacity? Did my body tell the truth before my mouth did? Each yes pays interest. Each no deepens the debt. Respect is compound interest on disciplined behavior, and the world pays it in opportunity. Let others chase attention like toddlers with balloons. Let them overshare. Let them burn out trying to be seen. You'll sit in silence while the storm rages, adjusting your sails. You'll become the still point in chaotic rooms. The name that enters conversations before you arrive. The presence that lingers long after you leave. That is power, the kind that doesn't demand respect. It radiates it. Share this video with someone who needs the reminder. Then close the app. Straighten your spine. Seal one leak tonight, another tomorrow. Let the gains stack. Make it real.